Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. My name is Grady, and as always, live on Skype, we got Josh.
Hey!
In a world of uncertainty, there's some constants, death, taxes, and Wrestling Roundup coming to you every week, bringing you the lowdown on what's happened last week in wrestling. We're going to kick off with SmackDown. They're getting a couple more members for their Survivor Series team. They're starting to build it up. Not as fast as Raw is, but they're starting to build it up. The first member we saw added to their men's team, Kevin Owens, was able to defeat Dolph Ziggler. Quite a good addition to the team.
Yeah, much better than Ziggler.
We're not necessarily doing a whole lot with Kevin Owens at the moment, but still a pretty decent addition to the team. Pretty solid member.
Yep. Yeah. Can't really ask for much better.
But the story of the night to tie it all together is the Jey Uso Roman Reigns storyline. We start off obviously because Jey Uso lost at Hell in a Cell. He's got a fall in line, and as the night went on, specifically into the main event at the end of the night, Jey Uso gets a little more devilish, a little more heelish, and actually with this change in attitude manages to claim a win over Daniel Bryan and a spot in the Survivor Series team.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to watch, to see how they develop this seemingly growing faction of Roman. But yeah, Jey definitely embraced the dark side.
Yeah, the line that sticks out in my head over and over, probably because it's what Jey screamed over and over, was just, "I understand now," as he's, beating the ever-loving poop out of Daniel Bryan after the match. It definitely seems like he's gone from this objector to, as you say, embracing the dark side and just being fully committed to Roman Reigns.
Yeah, so this should be fun to watch, see how they develop the character, and see who else they get involved. And I have a feeling they may really launch the rocket with him in this match. After all, his cousin holds the record for co-holds the record for most eliminations in a Survivor Series match. They may have him tie that record.
Yeah, it's
which would be pretty impressive considering who's on the Team Raw.
Team Raw is a monster. Let's just stick on this thread, right? Like Team Raw, already, AJ Styles, Keith Lee, and then we get a couple of additions. We got Sheamus, we got Braun Strowman. That's a lot of meat.
And then, of course, you're going to have AJ Styles Enforcer hanging around too. So, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting match. I think probably the most interested I've been in the Team Raw versus SmackDown matches since the return of the drafts. Because there's so many elements that are up in the air right now, and that Raw team is just so stacked. And yet, I still feel like SmackDown's going to win. And I have no idea why.
Yeah, I think the Raw team, they're really trying to sow those seeds of can they work together? That's always the storyline heading into Survivor Series. But with Team Raw, it's rarely the case. You got AJ Styles trying to break up scraps between them. You got them booking matches against each other. You've got pretty good foundation here for somebody's walking out, somebody's not cooperating, somebody costs somebody else an elimination, and that could potentially be the weakness that Team SmackDown needs to exploit come Survivor Series.
Yeah, that's definitely the what we're trending. But I guess we need to see on SmackDown who else makes the team, since we only know 2 members on the team at the moment.
Yeah, it's a little tough to predict too far out when we've got most of the Raw team locked in, and then just Kevin Owens and Jey Uso on the SmackDown side. It's still up in the air. Could still go either way, definitely, with this match. We'll have to wait and see who's going to be joining Jey and Owens. Off the top of my head, I don't really have anyone that's screaming at me of, hey, I need to be in this match, or hey, throw me in, coach. So it will be interesting to see who is put in those qualifier matches and who comes out on top. And if we're talking about qualifier matches, we're going to just continue on with the Women's Survivor Series team, because SmackDown got another member for that team as well. It was a triple threat match: Natalya versus Billie Kay versus Bianca Belair, and the EST of WWE earns herself a spot on the team.
Yeah, I honestly think that's all SmackDown needs, to be honest. Bianca Belair is insane.
It's all SmackDown has at the moment, so...
Yes. This should be fun. Seeing Belair show her stuff off in that match. Raw is pretty much stacked, considering it's got the tag team champions on it, a potential number 1 contender for the tag team champions, and then somebody who goes through a table every week.
Yeah.
Who probably will go through a table during the show.
That's entirely fair. Obviously Bianca Belair was in last year's Raw SmackDown NXT Survivor Series match that they ended up having, but I think she might be the focal point of this match this year in 2020, because much like the men's team, Team Raw, again with the women, still have this can they get together kind of thing. As you say, Lana's just being put through a table every goddamn week. Jax and Baszler can't get along within their own team, and they're teaming with, as you say, their number 1 contenders, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. It's a lot of combustible elements there.
Yeah, I think that team's actually more likely to explode than the men's team. To be honest, I can definitely see Nia Jax walking out after putting Lana through a table, and then basically having a double elimination at that point.
Yeah, it's
because we know Lana's going through the table.
Yeah, Lana's going through a table.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it has to. It's the one thing that we know for sure is going to happen at Survivor Series.
Yeah, at this point, there's 3 inevitabilities: Steph, Texas, and Lana going through the announce table.
I want to say that this match will be a focus or a feature for Bianca Belair. She's coming hot off vignettes. She's coming straight into that SmackDown brand, I think. But behind the Sasha Bayley feud, she's up there. She's the next one that's going to get that feature spot. And I wouldn't be surprised if we are going with a by the books match, that she ends up getting 2, maybe 3, 4 if you're pushing it, eliminations, and making a name for herself in this match.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be Belair's night. Whether Team SmackDown wins or not, I think Belair's going to have an absolutely monster showing, and it's going to elevate her towards a potential program with our SmackDown Women's Champion, Sasha Banks.
It's just a matter of time of getting there, and at the moment that SmackDown Women's title is, as we say, pretty locked up with Bayley, with Sasha Banks, and I believe there was a challenge this week on SmackDown, and that was accepted, so that they should be heading into a rematch next week on SmackDown, which will be tomorrow from recording time, and maybe 12 hours from airing time if you're listening to this live on any of the radio stations that we air on, FreeFM, NPR, or ArrowFM. So I don't think they're going to finish their storyline next week on SmackDown. I'm pretty sure that's going to continue on a little bit further. So that's the problem here, is that Bianca might have to just wait in line behind this feud to finish.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that when it comes to the Survivor Series matches, the one match I'm least excited for is the Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion. Because no matter who wins that rematch, they're still facing Asuka. And that's something we've seen over and over and over the last 3 months.
Yeah, I think it's a bad combination.
Unless they surprise us and Asuka suddenly drops the title to somebody on a Raw heading up here.
It's possible, not likely, but possible.
Yeah. That's the only way I'll get interested in that match, is if Asuka drops the Raw Women's Championship. Because then it won't be the same match we've seen at every pay-per-view almost for the last 3 months.
Yeah. Asuka's been pretty involved with the Banks and Bailey kind of stuff in the recent weeks and recent months. So, yeah, it is going to be a bit of a repeat, which, you're not meant to really get with these cross-brand matches, because Survivor Series is the one night a year that Raw and SmackDown go head-to-head. I just had to throw that out there one time. I promise that's the only time I'm going to repeat that marketing line. But it's roughly halfway through the show as we stand. We still got a little bit of SmackDown to hit up. We got some Raw, we got some NXT we might get on into, because talking about NXT, that is where our theme for this week comes from. It is the theme of Shotzi Blackheart for her tank. Her precious and lovely tank is no more. It's never going to function again.
Much to the delight of Robert Stone.
And you're back in the Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. I'm Grady. He's Josh. Let's finish off one of the main storylines we have on SmackDown. It was entirely embroiled in Raw. They picked it up, they transposed it, and they just pasted it on SmackDown. Murphy versus the Mysterios. This thing is just going and going and going. Dominic and Ray, they still hate Murphy. Murphy's trying to fix things, and then Seth Rollins comes out and just pokes and pokes and pokes.
Yeah, okay. I guess the meat on this storyline is completely burnt. They've overdone. This storyline has overstayed its welcome, and it now has a new element. Oh my god! The Mysterio daughter is in love with Buddy Murphy.
It seemed like that was the way we were going to go from the text part and extra parts like that. But yeah, this storyline has been going for quite a while now. We thought the whole Seth Rollins Rey Mysterio thing was gonna finish up, gonna end, and then it just kept getting extended and extended. And now that we've come across into SmackDown, it feels like we've still got that same timer. We gotta finish soon.
Yeah. This, like the Asuka and the SmackDown Women's Champion situation, this is a feud that's overstayed its welcome. It was cool at the beginning, but now it's just whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 elements of it that I am still enjoying, and those are mainly the fact that Murphy is getting featured, and that Dominic is getting ring experience behind him, but Dominic has to get more ring experience than just Seth Rollins and Murphy and combinations of for 6 months. I want to see Dominic break out and go and do something else. It's not fight these two dudes for the last 6 months.
No, the next step is obvious. It's going to be Dominic and Murphy forming a tag team.
I realize radio is a visual medium, but I put my head in my hands there. Sorry, an audio medium. I'm going to ignore what you said and instead skip over to Raw. Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, Alexa Bliss, they're heating it up. They're continuing their storyline. Now it seems as though Alexa Bliss is well and truly her own sort of fiendish kind of thing, and Nikki Cross might be potentially trying to save her or get back her friend, I believe was the language used in the backstage segment. We'll have to see where it goes for the Fiend, because he seems to be a very big selling point, or at least focal point for the Raw brand at the moment.
Yeah, there's definitely there's plans here, and you know what? They're knocking it out of the park. I said I was going to hate the storyline because I hate the concept of the whole Joker and Harley thing. I think they're pulling it off fine. So,
nice.
So it is what it is. I have no complaints right now. And so I'll be a curmudgeon out over in the corner. I don't care.
You go curmudgeon in the corner. Maybe I can make you feel better, because I'm going to mention a match. And the total match time was like less than a minute, I'm pretty sure. Tucker, having recently split from Otis and fully committing to the dark side, wearing his old Tucker night pants, comes out, gets his butt kicked by your boy Ricochet.
Yeah, before they both get destroyed by Retribution.
Okay, but Ricochet picked up a win.
Yeah.
Can we celebrate? It's not often, okay?
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, Ricochet's still picking up a few wins here and there, but they're not doing anything with him. That's why I was really mad when they pulled the stunt with the Eddie Guerrero finish in the match where he would have had to have joined the Hart Business if he lost. Because it would at least been doing something with him.
Yeah.
Well, it is what it is.
Well, I think...
And, I think Tucker's pretty much dead in the water to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
Which is sad, because that's my last name, and I wanted him to do well.
Yeah, it was, The breakup of Heavy Machinery at the moment seems to be a worst-case scenario for Tucker. We'll have to wait and see what happens to Otis to whether we can say it was a really, 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 really bad decision. But at the moment, it was definitely a bad decision for the future of Tucker, because I don't think he has a future. That sounds really sad, but I'm just a realist. Unless there's going to be a major turnaround with him. And you mentioned the Hurt Business there. I do want to mention before we run away, they seem to be entering the tag team division because there's no one else in it. With an entry, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, they teamed up to take on Kingston and Woods. It was a non-title match, and they actually did pick up the win.
Well, we need something. And hey, the Hurt Business has been knocking it out of the park. So why not?
Business is booming. I think that is pretty much it for Raw. There is also this ongoing storyline where everybody wants a piece of Randy Orton. Drew McIntyre wants a piece of Randy Orton. The Miz is trying to cash in against him. John Morrison's trying to help The Miz. The Fiend is poking his head in around, trying to antagonize Randy Orton. He's got a line of people coming after him.
Which is more than we could have said for Drew.
I can't hear what you're saying.
There for a while, at least.
I don't know what you're saying. Drew's amazing.
Yeah, he is amazing. And he had a great run as WWE champion.
I still refuse. But I think the main thing with all of these things, we just listed like 3 or 4 guys who are potentially lining up for shots, is that they all have to get in line and wait a month because we're dealing with the cross-brand match at Survivor Series. That's what we're trying to hype up at the moment. Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton. Maybe we get a cash-in after that. Roman Reigns has been pretty vicious lately. It would line up pretty well. But yeah, it's all on a little bit of a stalling factor at the moment, waiting for Survivor Series to get by.
Yeah, there's a lot of plans have been put on hold for a month. After all, we have the United States Champion versus the Intercontinental Champion. We've got the 2 tag team champions against each other. We have, as we talked earlier, Raw versus SmackDown Women's Champions. And then the WWE Champion versus the Universal Champion.
Survivor Series just puts feuds on ice at the moment, which is a little sad, because I remember when Survivor Series used to, push forward feuds and be the driving factor for them. And so with the Raw versus SmackDown at peace, you do get a little bit of just putting everything on ice and waiting for a little while, which, is what it is. It is the price you pay to have that one night a year that Raw and SmackDown go head to head. I lied about not repeating that marketing line again.
Well, yeah, it is kind of the price you pay, but to be honest, I'm fine with it because it does create matches and things you wouldn't normally see. For example, Orton versus Reigns. Right now, those are the 2 top heels in the company. You wouldn't see them face against each other any other time. So I'm cool with that. I mean, it creates different things. Did we ever think we'd see a New Day versus the Street Profits match?
Yeah.
That's one of my most excited for matches right there. I want to see that combination. I want to see the New Day versus the Street Profits. I want to see Orton versus Reigns. Because I want to see who comes out on top. How did they do this?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine with them putting their feuds on ice because it gives us something different. Which is something we're always asking for. Some groups louder than others, but not following up on it. But yeah, so I'm fine with it. They can still do little things in these matches that do continue feuds, like with the Team Raw situation.
Mm-hmm.
You can have somebody betray somebody else in that match, and that continues the feud going forward. So it does give them options to continue the feuds and just not completely ice them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much we do develop those feuds, as you say, especially with Team Raw and stuff like that. We have just a few minutes left. I'm going to jump over to the gold brand now, purely so I can mention the opening match. There is no other reason but vanity to be talking about NXT this week. The opening match saw Ember Moon challenge Dakota Kai and fall to Kai, the stronger woman.
Yeah, hey, Kai's getting a push. What can I say?
I'm ignoring that there was a distraction finish. It doesn't matter. Dakota Kai won a match against the returning Ember Moon. That's all that matters.
Yeah, this whole NXT Women's Championship situation is really interesting. Have they even announced who Io's going to be defending against?
Ripley, yeah. It will be Rhea Ripley as the next person lined up. It looks like Candice LeRae feuding with Shotzi Blackheart due to running over the tank. Toni Storm is floating around. Seems to be playing tweener. Can go either way at the moment. Also Ember Moon. And obviously Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez. Quite a few options to go after Ripley Shirai to see what happens there with that match.
Yeah, so it's definitely a situation where it's like there's fluidity, and Io definitely hasn't have any kind of shortage of challengers.
Mm-hmm. And then the only other thing I want to mention about NXT was the Kings of NXT coming out and just absolutely decimating Drake Maverick and Killian Dane, sending a message to the NXT locker room that they run NXT now.
Which I'm perfectly fine with. This stuff that Pat McAfee and his group have been doing has been absolutely pure gold. I still think they need to add a fourth member, but so that so McAfee doesn't have to enter the ring if they don't want him to.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I do wish they were doing War Games, because this would be a perfect feud for War Games.
Well, who knows what NXT holds in the future with the Kings running around. But I know what holds the future of this show, which is the end, because we are all out of time. It's been great talking to you.
Bye-bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRadio, Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRadio, and we'll see you next week.